Saturday afternoon sunlight covered the ranch as Daniel arranged long tables beside the old wooden barn. Family friends had already arrived, and smoke from the grill slowly rose into the summer air. It looked like a peaceful, private gathering. Several officers from Daniel's department began arriving one by one, dressed casually, while greeting everyone warmly. The event was meant to welcome his brother home after military service. A large welcome banner was tied between two wooden posts near the barn entrance. Laughter spread across the property while food continued cooking. Across the road, Karen stood near her SUV watching the growing crowd through dark sunglasses. Her attention focused on the parked patrol vehicles she did not fully recognize. She immediately pulled out her phone and began reporting what she described as an unauthorized disturbance. Daniel noticed her from the distance but stayed calm. Minutes later, two patrol vehicles approached the ranch entrance. Guests turned briefly before several officers started smiling. The arriving officers stepped out and immediately greeted Daniel. Name. Karen's expression shifted the moment she noticed the friendly handshakes. One officer laughed and asked where the barbecue plates were. Daniel pointed toward the grill beside the barn. Karen tried explaining her complaint, but the officers calmly asked whether the event was on private property. Daniel simply showed the ranch boundary markers. The officers confirmed the gathering was fully lawful. Behind them, more department friends continued arriving with food trays. Karen lowered her phone slowly when she realized nearly every new guest seemed familiar with Daniel. Several officers greeted him like an old colleague rather than a stranger. The atmosphere stayed friendly despite her frustration. Daniel carried another tray of grilled food toward the long table, while one officer helped arrange drinks. The welcome party continued naturally, without anyone raising their voice. Karen asked one officer why so many patrol vehicles were present. He calmly explained that many guests worked together and had simply arrived after their shifts. A welcome speech began near the barn entrance. As Daniel's brother stepped forward, guests turned quiet for a moment. The speech focused on family, service, and returning home safely. Even nearby officers listened respectfully. Karen remained near the edge of the property, watching the calm atmosphere she had expected to be chaotic. One neighbor from farther down the road arrived carrying dessert and greeted Daniel warmly. The gathering felt even larger now. The officers near the grill began joking about who would handle the ribs first. Smoke drifted slowly into the open sky. Karen tried one more time to explain that too many vehicles were parked nearby. Daniel pointed out the clearly open private lot beside the barn. An officer confirmed the parking arrangement caused no road obstruction at all. Children from nearby families began playing near the fence line, while adults continued talking. Karen noticed how organized everything actually looked. Tables were clean, vehicles aligned, and music stayed low. Daniel handed plates to two officers who had just arrived from another district. One of them recognized Karen from earlier neighborhood meetings and simply nodded politely. Karen's frustration softened when she realized nobody was arguing back. The welcome banner moved gently in the wind above the barn doors. Daniel's brother thanked everyone again for coming, especially old department friends. Several officers raised cups in a quiet toast. Karen finally stepped closer, now speaking less aggressively. Daniel offered her water instead of continuing the disagreement. For the first time, she looked surprised. By the gesture, an officer nearby quietly explained that Daniel had hosted community events before without issue. The conversation shifted from complaint to simple questions about future event notices. Daniel agreed that advance notice could help avoid confusion. Karen finally lowered her papers completely. Music resumed softly, while food continued serving. More laughter returned around the grill. The afternoon sun moved lower behind the barn roof. Karen quietly stepped back toward her SUV. Before leaving, she glanced once more at the welcome banner. Daniel returned to the grill while another officer handled fresh corn. The event now felt even more relaxed than before. Neighbors from farther properties began joining after hearing the music. Even Karen's SUV remained parked nearby for a few extra minutes. One officer joked that Danielle's ranch always had the best food. The sunset painted the barn walls orange. Karen eventually drove away without making another call. The officers stayed longer, now fully enjoying the evening. Daniel looked across the property and smiled quietly. If this HOA story surprised you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below where you're watching from. ***.